The Bring a Trailer podcast.
Just BSing. There's so much that you've done, including recent return from Europe. Are you keeping track? How many times you've been in Europe this year?
This year is actually lighter than last year. Last year was a big build out, right? Because we built out the whole infrastructure on the site for different currencies, different geographies, different tax schemes, governmental tax schemes.
The Europeans like to collect
They love taxes. And then, different sorts of things to make it so you can buy and sell on BAT. But so 24, I was over there 6 times, and this year 2 or 3.
It feels like more than that.
Not that many. I think this was either the 3rd or the 4th.
We've been having more fun this year too. You've been doing it's not as much biz dev. I mean, you did that amazing drive with your dad. You've been doing fun stuff. You did fun stuff on this one. Yeah.
Yep, for sure. So anyway, we can talk about being in the UK. We can talk about things going on BAT. There's plenty of them. That Corvette success story. You and I could fill 40 minutes with that.
I think I got primed by those C1s that were at Road America. You know,
of course.
And now I'm just in full.
That thing came up, and obviously I thought of you immediately. I was like, oh my goodness, this person just flew in and drove home a C1 with ratty paint. Did you see what he said he's going to do with it?
No, I didn't see it. He drove Route 66.
I read the article, man. He says he's going to run it in the La Carrera. I mean, he says he's going to build the car and do stuff. And I think it's on a YouTube channel or something. The owner has plans.
I saw that
plans are afoot.
There were comments saying we need to follow the ongoing journey. Yes. So that must be what they're talking about.
Yes.
We're talking about a Bring a Trailer success story, a C1 Corvette that a guy drove almost 1,000 miles back, including some Route 66, which obviously got my juices flowing.
Yep. Because he picked it up in Springfield, Missouri. He drove for some of that, and he was headed towards Pennsylvania. I was trying to kind of suss it out, but I just love that.
You're about to break out a map. I know the car is so good.
That guy picked a killer car to do it with.
So 55. No, there could have been Corvette. There were 6-cylinder Corvettes in the La Carrera, were there?
Maybe somebody ran one if they were, suicidal.
55 is the last year of the Carrera, right? Am I right about that?
Did it go to 56?
I don't know.
Some of those Lincolns that they were running, and
those were 53s. I think.
But some of them were later.
Okay, maybe. Well, I should look it up. I can look up what the last year of the Carrera Panamericana was, but I've never seen a Corvette Carrera car, which is interesting.
Yeah, actually, I haven't either. They're always weird sedans.
1954 was the last year, so you could have only had a 6-cylinder Corvette.
Wow!
If you did it, which is interesting.
I think those Lincoln 2-doors that they ran down there are so cool.
They're so cool.
I'd still really like to do that event. I mean, I was in the UK and I mentioned Carrera to somebody and they lit up. They were like, that's the dream event.
That's interesting. It's kind of aggro, though. That's the thing that always makes me nervous.
It's aggro. It's people perish. I mean, it's meaningful.
Every time I see one of the cars, I'm like, that's the beefiest roll cage I've ever seen. It's double bars.
Still won't save you. You can build the best roll bar, this side of Durango, and you're not gonna save your life. It's either your time, not your time on that event. Oh man.
Watching our buddy Mike getting in and out of his Studebaker, I'm like, it's like getting into an Apollo spacecraft, the way you have to crawl in and they screw the hatch up.
Yeah, the outcome is either really great or really not great. Man, but what a cool event. I haven't been down there in a long time. I would kind of love to do it. He's like, we should do it together. And I was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to do that. It seems sort of terrifying, but it would be fun.
The patina on that car, the stance, the red steel wheels, it's a 59 C1 with a hardtop. It's just perfection.
What's the username on the guy?
J-Mast.
Love J-Mast.
J-Mast. It's got a 327 in it too.
What year? What year car?
59.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's not even my favorite year of those, but that one because it's got color matched steels with no caps and stuff.
And also the Cove is the same color as the rest of the body, which I actually like. I like non-contrasting one color.
And hardtop.
Is crucial.
Steel wheels and hardtop, that car wins.
I think the reason I like it is it looks like that ratty one that was at Road America.
I mean, it looks like hand paint some numbers on the doors.
Correct.
And go, right?
Correct.
So anyway, I'm a fan of people who fly in and drive their BAT purchase home. And then I'm even more of a fan of people do it in a 50s car, and even more of a fan of people who do it in a steel-wheeled Vette.
Yes.
That guy shot to the top of my list immediately.
Totally. Drum brake rally.
So, I love that you saw it. I thought of you first when I saw that car, and I hope people are fired up about success stories. I think success stories are so cool and have been ever since the early days. And it's sort of the rest of the story, right? This is the rest of the story on what you get when something is marked sold, and then it like fulfills some dream for some cool BAT user out there.
I almost want to buy cars just to drive them back. Like I'm really, I'm about to do it. I'm about to do it. I mean,
you've lived it multiple times,
yeah,
and you're about to do it in a major way.
I'm semi-nervous about it. The seller is actually a local partner. Is another BAT car.
Not to jinx you, but like, as long as it doesn't like burn to the ground or you crash it or something.
Worst case,
you put it on a flatbed.
Correct.
And it was an experience. And
correct.
As long as everybody's safe and you get home and it goes to a repair shop,
yes, correct.
You know?
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, you don't want some crazy scenario. But I mean, of all the scenarios, trying to drive it home through relatively stable jurisdictions like Eastern, Western Texas.
We're doing the whole width of Texas, which will be interesting.
Man,
but
wide.
that is a stable jurisdiction.
Real wide.
It's
totally. I mean, whatever. AAA, whoever. People.
Yeah, we're going to be on freeways. My 15-year-old's probably going to hate it. I heard what your 15-year-old was up to, which is crazy. And like, so my 15-year-old who is on his screens, he needs some wide open Texas highways to clear the head. Cleanse. I think we're going to have fun.
Totally. Yeah. Throw the iPad out the sunroof and just like cruise.
I'm going to drag him to some boring museums. We're definitely
Son, this is a cactus.
Yeah.
This is a real cactus.
I cleared Petroleum Museum with him. He's thumbs up. So we will visit the chaparrals. I think that only takes about 20 minutes.
You're still crushing me that you in your lifetime are beating me to the Petroleum Museum in Midland, Texas.
I would like to see some drill bits too. That Felix may drop a line there.
Okay. That may be a little dull.
Totally.
I'd rather see the race cars myself and the high wings, that you bump your head on.
1,000%.
Cool.
1,000%. Well, you had some cool experiences in the UK while you were out. Well, actually, you were here in the office when we recorded our Bullet podcast. That got, I think, the most comments we've ever gotten on a podcast post. Right. And then you saw a movie in the UK, which like is on my very short list to do next. And I believe was suggested by quite a few listeners of the pod, which is Grand Prix.
And I think it informed a lot of movies of the era. So I went to England. I spent some time with some friends out there and some BAT folks out there doing car stuff. And Motorsport Magazine, you familiar with Motorsport Magazine, right? The green masthead.
Absolutely.
They're super cool. They've always had a terrific magazine. And they were, for whatever reason, apparently kind of for the first time, this was a new enterprise. They rented out a historic theater in London and they played Grand Prix.
So cool.
The 66 film.
Was it on film or was it digital?
It was very like delightfully crisp and clear, and the sound was perfect, and it was sharp imagery and stuff. I don't know if it's like been remastered or if this was like a moment in time where they chose that movie for a reason, but it was killer in a theater, like killer, 10 out of 10.
Had you seen it before?
The sound was crazy. I had seen it before. I don't know if I saw it all the way through. So it's like 3 hours long.
It's Frankenheimer and it's James Garner.
It's long. Well, Garner's the lead.
Yeah.
And it's about him as F1 driver, like kind of ups and downs.
Is he like a newcomer or is he like a middle of the pack guy?
He's been around. He's been around, but he's still holding on, right? He's not quite Sonny Hayes, but he's
that's where I was going.
Charming, and everybody knows him, and he's kind of trying to get back to Ferrari, but they don't want him. And it's one of the, but he's the American, right? And the French guy is leading the pack. And anyway, I don't know enough to like name drop all the actors and stuff, but I know enough to name drop all
Marie Saint,
the racers who were in it. Okay, you know her.
Well, she's alive still. I looked up, she's 103. She's North by Northwest is what I know her from. She's like the leading lady in that. And then those I saw it once in high school because it's like the thing you've got to see, right? And I just remember Garner, and I remember the Honda storyline, which you said is not Honda.
It's not branded Honda. It's branded as another like Japanese industrialist who's there, and they like dub over the way he talks. And there's like a bunch of crazy 60s cultural moments in the movie.
Questionable.
Some of them are questionable now with 50 years of hindsight, but in general, it sits pretty well. And I mean, the French drivers and the Italian drivers and the crashes and the actual footage, right? I mean, it's very similar to how they've done some of these other movies around racing where it's like they were there for the actual 66 GP in Monaco.
Totally.
And they're like showing overhead footage, and then they somehow drop in these other race cars with cameras all over them that go flying and crashing instead, right? Even if the race was clean. So, man, it was super cool. Huge shout out to Motorsport Magazine. for putting that on. And yeah, we paid, I think it was $50 or something to go.
How'd you get the invite? Did you know somebody there, or was it you just dropped in?
No, they had some way to sign up for it. This big theater was like 2/3 full. So I don't think it was like sold out and they wouldn't let people come. I think they were looking for more and more people to come. They had a Q&A before it. David Brabham was there. His dad, Jack, obviously was in the movie. And he did a Q&A before it, and he looks exactly like his dad does, right?
Kidding.
So he's sitting there like talking about it, and he's won Le Mans.
Yeah, and there's still a Brabham. He's probably still running whatever the descendant company is, right? Or is it owned by somebody else?
I don't know what has happened. Okay. I mean, they're Kiwis or Aussies or something, right? I forget where they're from. But anyway, he was there and he's talking, and it kind of gives you a cool insight into it. So they made it more of an event than just like, whatever, come watch a movie. There was kind of a little more buzz around it. And it was a weeknight in London at this random theater that we walked across town to go get to. So that was fascinating,
totally
and interesting, and sort of car culture moment. And a great film. This whole podcast would be dissecting the film if you wanted it to be.
No, we have to save that because we're going to do that
another time.
Yeah.
But there is serious 66 Hertz Shelby Mustang footage. That's Gardner's driver in Europe.
No kidding.
And he, like, the pretty girl gets in the car and they're driving through the mountains in the Hertz Shelby, dude. It was a moment.
It's black gold?
Of course.
Okay.
California plates in Europe. Anyway, that car exists. And I think it might still be in Europe because I went searching for it. I was like, who has that car now? Because that's a cool car to have. Gardner's Hertz Shelby. But yeah, he pulls into the paddock in this classic scene and like the crowd parts around him. And it's very reminiscent of Le Mans, of that movie.
Totally.
It's super similar how they, mounted up cameras on cars and stuff. The footage from on car around the circuits, I thought was super impressive and fun to watch. So anyway, shout out for that.
I'm all fired up.
Yeah, go watch that online wherever tonight. And we'll do a little dissection of that in a future podcast. But that was one of the nights. Yeah, I was over there for a week. There's a bunch of people that want to use BAT over there, which is incredible. And we want to bring it to them and let more of them use it. But it's a different market over there than it is in the US, and different types of cars and different types of needs and competitive landscape. So anyway, we're doing some fun things over there.
American and UK, planning your cross-channel invasion. You went and saw a show. You were talking Reliant Scimitars. Where did you run into Scimitar?
So we went to a show called the NEC Classic Car Show, or something similar to that grouping of words, in Birmingham, a couple hours outside of London. And they do these like Retromobile does them, right? We've talked about Retromobile on the podcast a bunch. America doesn't really have these like in a convention hall classic car show. I mean, we have SEMA, which is like a just circus adjacent, it's like crazy, but we don't have one that's just like focused on classic cars. They've always had that, whether it's due to weather or whatever, long winters or whatever. All the countries in Europe seem to have these indoor shows. So anyway, we went to one, wanted just to see and take a temperature and ask people how the market's doing. They had an auction there. Iconic Auctioneers was there. And Metcalf was there. He was selling a couple of his cars. People know him from YouTube.
Right? I love Harry. Yeah.
He was there. I saw him.
Did you get to meet him?
I didn't meet him. Okay. He was kind of cruising around. I don't know if he knows who I am or would have cared. There was a bunch of people kind of always
He's the man, though. I
going
love
up
him.
to give him a high five. But he was selling an Espada there and a couple of Jags or something. Anyway, he had some cars for sale. He does work with that auction house. But 10 auction, right? I mean, it is what it is. But they had a bunch of cars parked there. So I got to see what they were selling. A lot of individual dealers, a lot of vendors, a lot of car clubs, right? Like
totally
esoteric, weird makes and clubs, right?
Sounds like Retromobile, like what we did earlier this year.
But at Retromobile, there were some higher end dealers and there were like manufacturers. Remember Renault had like a huge like palace of all their new cars and all the old cars.
I still think about the front wheel drive turbo Renault 5.
Yes. So many cool things. That one is like the granddaddy. This one's a little bit mellower, and that's fine, right? There was the Miata club of GB,
Yeah.
And those people were totally cool. And actually, they were way into BAT. They were all
no
about BAT.
Kidding.
A colleague who was there talked to them and said they were maybe the most passionate about BAT of anybody, So, and we love that.
Right-hand drive NAs, baby.
Totally. The answer is always Miata, right? So that was cool. Yeah, but then there was some shinier stuff, Jags and Rolls, but primarily through sort of mid-level private dealers.
Scimitars.
And there was a Scimitar club. I did some in-person inspection of Scimitars. When was the last time you saw more than one Scimitar in a location?
Never
for me.
Correct.
Yeah. So that was the first. What else were there were a few models we thought, dude, man, here's one. Rebadged either like second gen Honda Civic that was sold as a British car.
What?
I think it had Austin badging. You're a Honda guy.
Oh my
and you
gosh.
don't even know this, do
No.
you? Okay, so this is deep cut. I was like, what the heck is that car? That's a Civic, but it's like got a different badge on it. But the badge is shaped like the H badge.
Oh my gosh.
But they like put a sticker over it with something else. But they love right-hand drive, right? Japan, right-hand drive.
Of course.
Brits, you right-hand drive. We got to figure out what that car
a lot of
was.
weird. I was just talking to somebody about this. Yes. Oh, it was my dealer buddy. Shout out Jack from Henderson Acura.
Okay.
He loves Civics. He's had a Civic Type R. And we were talking about the original Civic Type R, which you can now import, which I've talked about getting, like the 97 Type R, which was right-hand drive only. The only place they sold it other than Japan was the UK.
There you go.
And the UK had a weirdo club sport version of it that my guy Jack didn't know about, which has like the standard cloth interior and steel wheels, but it's still a Type R, seam welded and everything. So the Brits get even weirder than the Japanese sometimes.
Yeah. This car was weird. You had to like
okay,
Google it right now.
I think it was in Austin?
I think it was Austin. It wasn't a Triumph, but it's like late 70s, maybe early 80s. Honda rebadge British, which sounds like the weirdest thing. I mean, it's so funny. It was probably a car worth all of 3,000 pounds right now, right?
But it's so rare for you to see something you've never seen.
You've never seen one in my life. May never see one again. I think we took a photo of it, but maybe we didn't. Maybe we can post it up with this podcast. Anyway, that was fascinating. And what else did we see? Yeah, just cool variants of Rovers and just weird Brit stuff that you don't really get to see here too often. You didn't find it. Google has no evidence.
You know what
There's
AI
no
says?
evidence.
No, the Honda Civic has not ever been rebadged
Thanks,
for the
AI.
UK.
Thank you.
Wrong.
AI, false.
Dead wrong, Gemini.
I have one piece of data that says that's incorrect.
False. There is
Gemini.
Totally. Wrong.
That's
Wrong.
Funny. That's funny.
Anything else interesting to report from over there?
So anyway, that was all killer. We got to go to a bunch of cool car places, and then got to go to Goodwood, which was a major thing, which is always my favorite place. And they have very low key events, off season, sort of not the normal big events that we all know about. There are 3 big events a year, or massive with grandstands. I got to go there on a quiet day, and they were running a track day, and so it was like $250, 250 British bucks, Great British pounds,
poundage,
sterlingage,
sterling,
and
you have to pay
slide your card, and got to do a track day around the Goodwood circuit, which I've watched video of and gone to the revival and hold in very high regard. And they did like a killer job. 30 cars there, and they only let 8 out at a time, so you have like a clean track. And I drove it in an old, again, Austin product, old British product, but people were there in GT3 RSs, and people were there in Morgan Trikes.
And does it look just like it does for the revival?
It totally does. The way
including that chicane
the chicane was there. Everything's kind of off camber, so it encourages you to kind of dance the car around. It was pouring rain.
Whatever that big right-handed sweeper is, where you can always see the cars dancing through it.
Woodcote.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Woodcote.
In sliding around through there. And I mean, I'm a total amateur. I'm not a fast, race car driver or anything, but getting to drive there in the wet, and then it dried out in the afternoon, and to get to have some fun. Friends over there helped put that together. Could not have done it by myself, but maybe you can. I mean, they try to make it so easy. I think they have a calendar of these throughout the year, but I was lucky to get kind of a helping hand from my buddy James over there. We did really well, having some fun over there. That was the motorsport event. That was the Goodwood event. Then I went off with HUD and did NEC. Anyway, a lot of fun car stuff.
What a treat, and probably informs the way you watch that stuff once you've actually been on a track.
Totally.
Right? Think about it totally differently.
Absolutely. And seeing the behind the scenes of like what it looks like when it's not a huge posh 100%. Event. Like every time I've been there's bridges over the roads, and there's grandstands, and there's sponsors. And this you just kind of,
there's no
how tracks
there.
are. And it's like Lime Rock Park on a Tuesday, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just kind of cruise
Sometimes
in.
There's like 5 people there.
Totally. With the tunnel that is jam-packed full of people in costume and stuff in September, we like drove the car through. We just like zoomed underneath the track. So anyway, it was super slick, super fun. Anyway, lots of hopefully forthcoming interesting business and partnerships. Shout out to local partners over there. We're looking for more and more local partners to spin the flywheel up over there, because you go to these shows and it's just, I tell you, when we went to Bologna, did we talk about that?
No,
one?
but at Retromobile, I was like, God, these people need
oh my gosh, right? They're like, here we are. We're back with the same cars as last year, and you're like, what is the business model?
I don't understand how the doors are open.
Yeah, what is going on? And they're like, yeah, it's really slow. It's really hard. And we're like, well, here's like your answer. Like,
solution.
Let's go and list some cars and get them moving. So, we'll see what happens in the market over there and what we can do over there. We'd love to help people list more cars from that side of the Atlantic.
The Honda Concerto is a car produced from 1988 to 1996. Designed to aim at European tastes. It was jointly developed by Honda and the Austin Group.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so
that's not what it was.
They have a connection, but that car's too new.
Okay, but it must be.
That's the Descendant. That's the Descendant. But totally. Is there an earlier version? Dude, you're close. You're close. Super close.
I don't have time to go down a Wikipedia rabbit hole right now, but we're close.
Anyway, somebody in the audience owns one of those and is like jumping up and down, listening to the podcast right now, saying, "I know the answer."
Yeah, they're not going to pull off the Austin sticker over the H.
Totally. We walked around, and the wheels are the same Honda only wheels, dude. And then the center cap said something else. It was like those TV commercials where they like don't have the rights to use the car, so they like gray out the badging.
They just remove the Porsche crest.
Totally. That's what the car felt like in the flesh. That's the car.
Triumph Acclaim.
It's a Triumph.
Wrong. Dead wrong. Gemini was dead wrong because there's a rebadged.
Yep.
Deal.
Yep. Gemini's right. You take some joy in proving Gemini
makes
wrong.
Me so happy.
Smarter than Gemini. Anyway,
you are.
That's the car. And if they show the back of it doesn't have Civic taillights. So they left the whole front of the car, but the back of the car doesn't.
Honda.
What's it called?
The Triumph Acclaim. It's even like a Honda sounding name.
Yeah, but
Acclaim
it's like a Plymouth Acclaim. Didn't they have the Acclaim?
Totally,
name?
But like Acura and Honda did that kind of stuff, Anyway,
I saw one of those in the flesh. One still exists. If anyone out in podcast land can verify that more than one of those exists, look at the dumpy taillights.
Totally. It's total British car from
like
the back.
Leyland, just like terrible. Anyway, I love that this podcast is talking all about that car because that was just a crazy, weird moment. It felt like it was a prop from a movie that like wasn't allowed to be a Honda. Speaking of Grand Prix, where it's like not branded Honda.
Correct.
It was like, it's a Honda, but it's not allowed to be a Honda.
But aren't they like white with the rising sun on them still? It's like the same livery, isn't it?
They're white. Yeah, white.
Yeah, it's RA272s, I think. It's my car.
Japan's racing color was white, right? I mean, Honda didn't own that.
And as I recall, the guy is like clearly supposed to be Soichiro Honda. Like
it's a lot of alignment there. A lot of alignment.
A lot of overlap.
Anyway, great movie, great cars. That's a Triumph. I love that. I wonder, too. Was it at the Triumph Club booth? I think that's where it was. Because what else?
Oh, because they were totally showing off. They're like,
where else does that belong?
Check this out.
I don't think they were showing off. I think they all know it much better than we do, and they're like, it's not a good car.
Then why'd they have it?
Might be the most reliable Triumph ever.
Totally. Lean burn.
I don't know what it burns, but it's a funny little sedan.
Oh man.
Anyway.
Great stuff.
Hopefully we're relaying the interest of that.
Valuable information.
Without seeing that photo. But like you were in the dark until you saw that photo what I was explaining.
No idea. What else do you have to report? We can talk about the website. I haven't done anything exciting. I'm about to do something exciting, but...
is that out of the bag? Or are you
we've talked about it here before.
Future dates?
I just feel like I've talked about it too much.
Are you showing off and saying what you're driving? Or is that all...
No, I don't know if I've talked about it before. Let me make sure it doesn't burn up or end up on the back of a flatbed, and then we can report on all of it.
It's about a 50-50 there.
Yeah, I think so. It's restored. It should make it.
How many miles needs to go?
3,000-ish.
3,000 to get her home.
It'll be the longest I've ever done. And what's the longest like road trip? Have you ever driven coast to coast?
I have driven most of it, but in different pieces. I've never like cannonballed it, like shot it all the way.
What's the longest you've gone on like a committed trip? Like you did a lot in Europe this year.
Yeah, but that's like always driving around in circles, right? So it's a little hard to measure. The point to point, the crazy part about driving across the US is like you just shoot it like one direction as long, like for days.
Totally.
It's so cool. They actually don't have that over there, right? I mean, there's not enough.
No, you would have driven across all of Europe.
That's what I mean. So
it's like the march from Moscow for Napoleon, like the retreat back to Paris.
Totally. So anyway, I've done whatever. I've done a couple days at a time shooting it, but I've never done all the way across.
It didn't occur to me till just now. This would be the longest I've ever done. But I'm taking breaks. Like the family's going to meet us in Scottsdale for Thanksgiving. My parents are going to come out and the whole family. So we'll have a break 2/3 of the way across.
So strong.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Okay. Well, that'll be a podcast.
That'll be a pod. That'll be a pod.
For the future.
Yeah.
Watching that temp needle.
Did you
drive?
Oh my gosh, totally.
Oil pressure. Which gauge? Here's a good question. Which gauge are you going to watch the closest in the Italian car that you're driving across the Southwest?
You just mentioned the two.
Amp?
It's temp
or oil pressure?
and oil pressure. Those are the two I'm going to be watching
Those
for
Veglias?
sure.
Those Veglias.
And they're all over
they
the place in
accurate?
that car.
Yeah.
They're like in various locations. There's no rhyme or reason to it.
Do they flicker? Do they jump around at all?
I bet they do, and I bet I bet the ones that are the most vital for making sure you're not about to start a fire are like hidden behind your hands or the steering wheel. You know,
around the non-adjustable column.
You need to mount a mirror to keep an eye on it. It's totally non-adjustable.
Ask your passenger, how's my temp?
Totally. My son's going to be like, I don't care.
I don't know. I don't smell fire yet. I don't smell smoke.
I'm excited.
Work.
On Monday, day before yesterday, I did 600 miles per night in a
modern car.
In the modern car that I bought for my wife.
Yeah.
And that was great. Yeah. And so that was a little bit of a test. I'm not doing any legs that are 600. The longest leg we have planned so far is 500.
Okay. In a day.
That's to get out to the Petroleum Museum, buddy.
No, that's an out of the wayer.
There's not much out there.
If you're only doing 500 miles, that's like a couple days out of the way.
I mean, once you get past like San Antonio and Dallas and everything, there's like not a lot out in West Texas. So Midland, Odessa, fine by me.
I've never been out there.
Marfa's out there, which I thought about.
Zach's been there. I've never been out there.
Yep. Southern New Mexico. I've never done the 10. I've never been across the bottom part of the country. We're going to end up in Tucson.
Actually,
I've never been there.
Lie? Maybe a lie. I wonder if my dad took our family in the back of a W123 WAG when I was a kid, drove it to Dallas. If we did, we would have driven through all of that stuff.
I'm sure.
I gotta ask him. We drove to some crazy places in that car, but I don't know. My mom grew up in Dallas. I don't know if we ever drove to Dallas. I think we always flew. But if we drove, it would have been southern route, and it would have been all the way across.
There's the 40 that's like a couple hundred miles north of it. They kind of run parallel, and I've driven that before. That's like Route 66. The 40 is basically where Route 66 is. But the 10 is all the way down at the border. It goes through like Las Cruces and all that stuff.
Totally.
Yeah.
My grandparents lived in Yuma. 310 to Yuma.
Cool.
310 to Yuma.
Yeah.
But here's a funny story. So my mom drove a burgundy with tan interior Mercedes 300D WAG when I was a kid. And her sister, my aunt, who lived in Big D, had the same car. They had like this, I don't know why these two brothers-in-law like bought their sister wives like the same old Benz station wagon. So I have a picture in my mind of that car going across the Southwest, but I actually don't know if it was us or if I'm like mapping my reality onto like were my cousins dragged across the Southwest to see us, or did we go see them?
Somebody was in a 123
Somebody went across Texas twice, one way, both directions. But I'm like, did I live through that? A lot of that era. I mean, it's hard. All those trips run together. But I'm gonna have to text my dad right when we get off and be like, did you ever drive us across Texas? Because that's a crazy thing to do. I don't know if he would have done it. So maybe they did it to come see us. But anyway, there was once upon a time a 300 Mercedes station wagon driving across where you are going to go.
You've probably got sick pictures of it. What was the pic, pulling back the curtain a little bit, what was the pic of you with the Land Cruiser that was on the slideshow today that we did for staff? That was a cool photo.
No, that was in Moab.
Okay.
That was in Moab circa 03.
I was going to say, you look like a kid in that picture.
Yeah, I was a kid in that picture. That was an 85 Land Cruiser FJ60 that I had. By that point, it had a TBI V8 in it and a 5-speed and a lift and 33s and a bunch of stuff. That was like my car that I drove to senior year of college and then blew up the engine. And my dad and I and my buddy Simon and some others put a V8 in it in my dad's garage and continued to drive
Simon,
it around.
Former auction specialist Simon? Oh, no kidding.
He's a great man.
I'm not sure I ever knew about that you had that truck.
Oh yeah,
Did you not have
that I bought pretty stuff. Bought in Mountain View, California, from a guy named Pierre. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. I remember we bought it off of Craigslist. Bought it for $6,000. It had 270,000 miles, and it went about another 15, and then it blew the number 6 cylinder.
So it still had the 6 in it. Then.
And it had the. It was all stock.
Okay.
And then standard. I was 20 years old. I lifted it, and I popped the motor out.
Body lift?
And no body lift.
Suspension lift.
No, suspension, but then several iterations of suspension. And my buddy Simon fabbed up a front bumper for it and, suspension work and had a stereo and had the stereo stolen, all the stuff that one does. That was a great
old
truck.
man
Blue
Emu?
plates.
What are the suspension?
No, I had a crazy patch together. The Emu wasn't tall enough. I wanted bigger tires. The Aussies don't go for very
How big? 35s, 37s?
I never got to that big. I just got to 33s, but it could have fit 35s, which was the dream, but I didn't have any money.
Okay.
This will make people just terrified. Like, so I sold it for $14,500 and I went and spent that money in about 30 seconds on a 356 for $15,000.
That's the silver car.
Same money, straight across trade, FJ60 to 356A.
That's an insane period in history where that's possible.
Yep. And I got a huge premium on the truck. I mean, $15,000 for an FJ60 back then was like, what happened? How'd you do that? And the V8, I sold it to a firefighter in San Diego or something. I listed it for a long time on a bunch of forums and stuff. This is way before BAT. And that truck, a BAR smog legal V8 white blue plate FJ60. I just was living in the city and didn't have room and wanted a sports car and all this sort of stuff. So I got rid of that truck. But not before we threw mountain bikes in it and drove it to Moab and had some fun. And not before, speaking of where you're going, drove that thing to Vail, Colorado, and then south to Santa Fe. And I had that truck all over the place. We went to some super cool spots down there. So anyway.
That truck in Santa Fe that's some good.
It was fantastic.
Photography location.
It was fantastic. It had to get repaired. We had to go to a backyard welder in Santa Fe to repair the suspension because it was not up for the task of thousands of road miles and washboard and dirt roads and Moab and all that stuff. So anyway, that truck is still like one of my sort of soft spots for cars that have gotten away. I'm glad I shipped that one, but I'd love to have another one just like that.
That spec sounds perfect. That's also like some Randy car history that I didn't know about. What was the V8 in it?
It was a 350 TBI injected V8 out of a Caprice.
Wow.
Out of like a cop car.
Cop car, yeah.
Yeah. But they were still, this is long before LSs, and it was like probably an engine manufactured in like 92.
Yeah, throttle body.
Again, I had like no cash, right? My dad helped kick in because I blew the engine in my truck. I think I was still a senior in college or maybe just out. Like it was like, this was my daily transportation. I was like borrowing his car until we could put a motor in this thing, which we did in his garage. And my buddy George, shout out to George at Valley Hybrids in Stockton, California, who's like famous in the cruiser world now, but in 99 he was a little bit less so, but I think he sold me that engine for $300 running or something, right?
Was this a common swap?
And V8s were less common than they are now, but they were just as necessary then as they are now. Blowing up the 6-cylinder, and it would have cost probably $4,000 to put a new 6 in it, and I didn't have that, so I was like, let's V8 it, and my dad was like, let's go for it.
And you kept the stock transmission?
I put in an H55F, which was a 5-speed with overdrive, which was decadent, but cost 3 times as much as the engine because it was new, I think. Or did I get an Australian rebuilt one? I don't know. Anyway, that was rare back then, but those are all over the site now, right? And you see these 100K FJ60 builds with LSs and stuff. Like nobody had those. I mean, we bought it for $6,000 or $6,500. I felt lucky to have that truck at all. And nobody had 60s back then. There was one buddy of mine in Palo Alto had one. And that was it. Like you'd see moms driving them around to the grocery store and stuff, right? I mean, it wasn't on the cover of all these magazines you get and like in the Huckberry like marketing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
None of that existed. But I thought it was so cool. And people at school, I was a senior in college, people thought it was like super cool rig. Like people loved jumping in the Land Cruiser and driving around, but nobody had them. And I had 2 at one time. I had an FJ40 and that, and then decided to sell the FJ60.
It's so interesting because they were cool, but they were totally like the hand-me-down, like the Tahoe truck or whatever. My wife was just telling me an anecdote the other day. She said she went to high school in Marin.
She was in Marin. Those were driving around Marin.
But she said they all had she's like, there was like a wood-paneled SUV. I'm like, everybody had the hand-me-down Grand Cherokees that had been used to go to the ski house or whatever.
Totally.
And then
with a North Star sticker in the window and all that. Yeah, totally.
Yep. And she's like, that's what a ton of the kids had.
That's what people drove in high school parking lots. Yeah, we all had old trucks.
But all that stuff is so desirable now, but it wasn't back then. It was like, give it to the kid.
Cheap. It was those things were so cheap. But yeah, I remember finding that one and tripping across it. And I remember pulling up first time I ever saw it, right? Like we're in my dad's car and the lights are on. We went and saw it at night. Never buy a car at night.
No.
Ever. But we went and I was like, fell in love with the thing and we paid for it on the spot and drove it home, tried to figure out how to smog it, which was its own challenge.
Yikes.
Yep.
Yikes. How did you get the Bureau of Air Resources sticker on it?
Yes.
Easier to do back then?
Sticker. No, just as much of a hassle. You go to the referee and show him how you did everything right, and you maintained the air pump, and you did all this stuff. That was another reason the engine had to be...
It was a California smog compliant engine.
Newer than you couldn't put an older than the truck engine in a truck. So it was a 92 and the truck was an 85. So there was a path toward maybe that complying. And I never did get the AC working, but we did get the smog certification. I smogged that truck a number of times. And even though the engine probably had 300,000 miles on it.
Of course.
It was old used Coupe engine. I mean, salvage.
So much idling.
Oh my gosh. I don't know how that thing still made power. But it did. And I sold it on with the same engine. And had I had money, I would have loved to do a crate engine or something, but had to do it that way. And this was years and years before people started getting creative with like out of state plates to dodge smog and stuff. I was like, it had blue California plates on it, which was part of the appeal. So I kept them and I went through all the brain damage of going down and having them certify it. So you see those on BAT still. Those white stickers with the barcode on them, bring a warmth to my heart because I had to go earn one.
Well, for those of us editing old cars for BAT listings or working through, we love to see those.
Yeah,
we're like,
because it means it's legit.
Somebody didn't do a workaround.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Paying their way through a smog or whatever. No, that was a legit smog compliant 60 swap. So anyway,
amazing.
Cool try. I love that you shout that out. I didn't know that you even saw that, but I put that up in a like BAT presentation to staff or something. And you're like, what the heck is that truck?
I'm a connoisseur of your lore. So that was, it's always interesting to me when I know about what I didn't. I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about it. You got an interesting car sitting out in front right now too. Speaking of lore, you've definitely talked about the predecessor to that car on this pod.
The cruisers or the
your dad's MGB GT.
Yeah, there's some solid Nonnenberg family heritage out front. I drove my son's 67 MGB GT to the office today for the first time to show it to you guys, and because I forgot to charge an EV overnight. And when you do that,
you didn't reveal that,
you are totally hosed.
Yeah.
So I started looking around like it was there weren't a lot of options.
Bicycle.
Totally. I was like, am I going to take the train? Am I going to Uber? What am I going to do? So I was like, jump in the BGT. So anyway, I drove that thing up here. Speaking of weird triumphs and British car lore, or
speaking of Scimitars is like, I mean, the BGT is a better looking car, but they're both shooting.
I'm sure they all use the same parts. All of that stuff uses the same parts. But no, it's fun to drive a British car. We were just debating the merits and the functionality of electric overdrive, which that car has, which is a super neat thing. Anyway, I don't know how much I've told the story of that car, but yeah, my dad's first car was a BGT that he borrowed some money to buy new on Van Ness Avenue in San Francisco when he was going to university. And so my son, his grandson, gets to have a similar car to learn how to drive stick on. So we've been working on that. So it's fun. Anyway, but driving that to the office is super cool. And we like bringing weird cars into the office and parking here. So you contribute to that. I contribute to that. And I think that's, I don't get out of bed in the morning thinking about auctions. I get out of bed in the morning thinking about cars.
100%.
So anyway, the fact that runs through the team here yourself, I mean, you're maybe at the top of that, dude. But we have a lot of
we got to get the cord up here. I got to give some of our junior staffers, younger staffers, a ride in a 1930s car.
Totally. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Or a British car or a whatever, right?
You seemed like you were stoked to drive that. You sounded like it was like legitimately fun to drive.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes some people upset out there, but I like driving it better than the low court. I think it's a cooler driving position. I mean, just the feel of it. I thought it was super cool. So anyway, I'm a huge fan and it looks cool and it's fun to drive a small sports car.
Totally.
You can't beat it. And I like cars that are a little more attainable sometime, right? I'm not a supercar guy. So to get in a BGT and go drive it is like very fulfilling for me. Like a Bug-Eye would be, or like a TR4. I've always wanted a TR4 with like a Surrey top. I think those are so cool. Like anyway, there's a lot of interesting cars out there.
BGT is a roof, which I like.
And a good looking one.
It's very good looking.
It's so cool looking.
Yeah, it is.
I love the taillights, love the grill, love the steel dash, Anyway, so having some fun. Man, we're schizophrenic in this conversation all over the map. Movie.
Now you've got me thinking about all this stuff. GT6, a Triumph GT6 is something I've always wanted to speak of cool roof lines.
A girl
and cool
in my freshman dorm when I was in school had a GT6 and I drove it once and I was like, that's a cool. I'm BGT biased. I think you have to kind of choose one camp.
BGT is better looking, but the GT6 you featured a GT6,
baby blue,
the baby blue car with the mini lights. I'm obsessed with that car.
I called it before you said it.
Yes.
And it was parked like on a bridge.
Yes.
You remember the photo
It's
shoot?
the best looking. It's the best
GT6 there's ever been.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, absolutely. A buddy of mine actually has one live. How soon is this pod going live?
Tomorrow.
A buddy of mine has a GT6 race car.
Oh, they make an interesting race car.
They did, because Group 44 ran them and whatever else.
Oh, that's right. They're at Goodwood.
He just texted me while we were in the meeting with the said Land Cruiser photo and said, my car's live. I'm stoked.
Oh, it's got.
You see it?
This is a tribute to.
Yeah, it's kind of a Group 44 tribute.
Yes, totally.
Bob Tilius, or what was that dude's name?
God, these are good looking cars, man. Because the Spitfire is good looking, but it's a little spindly, so the roof adds something to it. Plus, no 6-cylinder in a Spitfire.
Yes.
Man, this is nice.
That's a good. Well, that's a full race car, I think. But we list those all the time.
They look like an E-Type with the clamshell up, which I love.
Yeah, the clamshell's cool. But I'm a BGT guy
for sure
because of my dad, and even a CGT. I like those.
I like those too. Big heavy motor in those, but I like them too.
Yeah.
I mean BGT V8 with the Rover V8.
People like those. I just like the purity of a 67 4-cylinder.
Also,
with overdrive.
The 4-cylinder, you can make tons of power out of those. They raced those. Huff came out and he's like, the Huffaker cars, I can't keep up with them. They're so fast. The BGTs.
That's true.
I didn't know your dad bought that car on Van Ness. So, okay, I love BAT's, in the wild stories. So Salesman and Henderson loved BAT.
Okay.
Yesterday, I'm getting my teeth worked on and I'm like scrolling through Instagram in the chair waiting for the
dental hygienist rode in on a BAT alumni motorcycle.
Way better. Waiting for the horror show to begin, scrolling through Instagram. I've gone to this dentist for a while. Dr. Louie practices with his daughter. She's worked on my teeth before. Dr. Louie, shout out to you. You're never going to listen to this podcast, but he walks in, sneaks up on me. I'd never met him before. And I hear him say, "What you looking at?" And he's kind of this quiet old Asian guy. And I kind of explain cars, and he asked a few very quiet questions. I'm like, oh, there's no way this guy is into cars. Then I'm like, so are you into cars? And he's like, oh yeah, I need to sell one. And I'm thinking, oh God, I'm going to have to sell this guy's Prius or tell him we don't list Priuses. And he's like, no, 1977 911 Targa, bought it new. He's the original owner on Van Ness when he was a young dentist. He's had all of his 3 kids in the back, like all this history.
And he has to sell it?
I said, dude, please don't. It's red, tan, and factory air conditioning. He special ordered it, all these things.
Dentist rig.
Totally. And he showed me a picture of it. Still has the sugar scoop headlights on it and everything. Of course, he's had to rebuild the engine. I asked him about that. Everyone has to rebuild those 2.7s. And he still gets it smogged every 2 years. And I said, God, don't sell that, man. Give it to one of your daughters or something.
Forever.
He's like, none of my kids want it. It's the story we hear a lot. He's like, they don't want it. And he doesn't drive it that much anymore. And
wow.
I know.
We should buy it.
I kind of thought the same thing.
Wow.
Anyway,
that sounds pretty cool.
I love BAT chance encounters like that.
Yeah.
The cars and old cars really take you everywhere,
I had no idea. Wow. That's amazing. Stories like that are super incredible. And you have to just imagine that dude. What year did you say the car was?
77. He bought it.
He's rolling this year I was born. I'm being born. He's rolling in to Porsche cars, San Francisco, or European import, blah, blah, blah. Where all the car dealers were, and he's total local, right? He's San Francisco.
He's like, I put a stupid stereo in it in the 80s. He's like, but I still have the original Blaupunkt or whatever.
Amazing. I love all that stuff.
I do too.
My dad bought it on Van Ness at British Motor Importers, Distributors Limited, whatever they were called. And the cool part, obviously, I want that car. Like if I ever found my dad, but
6-digit black plates on that car, right?
I know the plate. My dad knows it by heart. You can ask him what's the plate on your first car. Obviously, he knows it. But I've got pictures of that car. And then this one was as close as I could find. Also purchased on Van Ness. Also 67 green. This is how I knew this car was meant to be. It kind of found us. People are like, is that a BAT car? Or how'd you find that car? I was like, it's just so close to my dad's. Right. I had to do it. So the heritage certificate says sold on Van Ness in San Francisco. And it was in late 66 or 67. Before my dad would have done his, I think.
Do you know your dad's chassis number? Is it close to the chassis number?
I don't know chassis number. Okay. We just know the black plate because we've got the pictures, but we don't have a chassis number picture. Nobody knew that back then. But this one's super duper close. Bought at the same dealer, same scheme, same year, all the same wire wheel option, overdrive option.
It's as close as you're going to get.
It's as close as any human is ever going to get.
Right.
So we found all that, and that's part of the reason we jumped on this car. But it's a fun one. And putting my dad in that car to drive, like putting him in the driver's seat to teach his grandson a little lesson or two would be kind of a cool flashback. So anyway, we'll see how all that goes. But it's fun to drive it and have it in BAT's orbit up here with the staff, with all their crazy cars, and have a good time.
Awesome, man. What else should we hit?
I mean, there's just wild stuff on the website right now, and the team's doing a killer job. It's just kind of wild to watch the appetite that the market has for some of these cars. We had some mega results like this week, like
Tanks?
middle of November.
We have another tank.
We're selling tanks. But yeah, I mean, whatever. Sports cars, trucks, everything.
The weird carbon 993, that was a huge one. I can't even think of what it's called. Gunther Werks, that was a big sale.
$1 million.
Yeah.
It ruined the 993
page. Oh, we
which I just looked because now everything sells for $300K or less, and then there's a $1 million sale, and he kind of torpedoed the graph.
Okay,
that's a good problem to have.
It is a good problem to have.
I've been watching some. Have you been watching stuff? What have you
Oh my gosh! Or let's pull up my watch list. I can tell you what I'm watching.
Absolutely killer. I wish I could.
Oh well, Mike Barron has his Dodge Stealth live right now, so I'm watching that. Oh, there's a really good Corrado just popped up. Did you already see it?
No. What color?
Red VR6 SLC BBS. This is like. I shouldn't blow up that spot.
I like that a lot. Did you see the 400 GT Ferrari that missed reserve yesterday?
No, I did not see that.
I like swooping in on missed reserves and grabbing, but
400 GT, didn't know that was on
5-speed.
Didn't know that was on your thing.
I like those a lot. And then what else has been flowing around? Did you see the crashed 912 that sold?
Oh, I sure did.
20 grand. That was wild. Did you see Steve Sirio's Feminod's Feminod Range Rover Classic?
Nope.
It's been on the site 5 times.
Ooh, that's either a record or close to it. I saw a 4-timer the other day.
It's like out of a dream
it's
sequence.
You
it's
love
like
it.
all the way through the history of the car since like 2014.
Dude, this 400 is really good.
I know. Tan interior is not my fave, but
it's like got like no, it's not Daytona stripes, but it's got the black insert stripes
on the seats.
On the car.
Yeah, but that was interesting. Couple Broncos I've been watching. Did you see the 5000 Turbo Quattro WAG that sold? That was an alumni car.
That generated some enthusiasm. That's the one that's been on 4 times, I think, right?
I wanted to buy that car. Vermont Silver. Just incredible.
I love that it's like getting driven a lot and it keeps getting handed from one BAT. And there's one commenter was like,
under the bumper. Did you see the quad?
And one person was like, I hope this car comes again. And then it did. And they jumped on it. There's like a lore, like a site lore following that car
is
around.
Here to stay forever. The Corvette Challenge race car I thought was cool. There's a crazy 56 T-Bird that I was watching fairly closely. Anyway, I'm schizophrenic as usual. And I love all these cars and I'm watching them. And it's fun to see their buyers and sellers be stoked about moving them through BAT.
Here's one that I guarantee was not on your watch list, but was on mine.
Graham Hollywood?
Yes, with the supercharged factory Graham engine rebuilt and customized in the 60s in this weird pink color and has Kelsey Hayes wire wheels and stuff.
That's an unusual one.
Very unusual.
I never knew what a Graham Hollywood was until probably the 3rd year of BAT because I would search in like the other bucket on a lot of websites. Right? And I'd be
unclassified.
Totally. Like no longer in print. But anyway, that one came out and I had to kind of educate myself on those. Guys were building hot rods out of those.
For sure, because they're rear drive they don't have all the cord problems anymore.
So I featured a couple of those early on. Probably had some quippy remarks about them, like never heard of one of these, like what the heck is this thing? It's for sale. That was very early BAT, and that was
you want a crazy pull? There's not only was there the Graham Hollywood, but then Hupmobile bought the molds from them. There's also a Hupmobile Skylark. So there's 2 cars that are
they had the
based
name
on the
Skylark instead of Buick. Had that, or did Buick buy Hupmobile?
I mean, this was also like during World War, like right before production stopped, or of cars.
But I mean, Skylark also is as Buick.
Totally, but it must have been before
trademark as you can get.
It was also 41, so it must have been before the Buick Skylark. That must
I bet they went out of business and somehow
Buick bought it.
Somehow Buick got the name.
I bet that's right. There's even fewer of the Hupmobiles than there are of the Grahams. But anyway, crazy stuff. There's so much good stuff, dude. My watch list is just like red Shelbys and like big Ford station wagons and hot rods. Like that's like all it is. So you can tell
I want to see your Ford
308
station
GTVs wagons. No longer on there.
I've missed a couple of those. I told you about that. I've been thinking about Falcon Rancheros ever since.
Well, that red Ranchero.
I know, but ever since I told you about that SCCA photo, I thought of
this LTD Country Squad.
I actually saw those wagons.
Shelby. This was a really good
following wagons. I love that about you. Yeah. I want a wagon as a race car tow vehicle.
100%. Well, you and I have been talking about that.
That's what I want. Yeah, that's like peak life for me.
Oh,
if I can engineer
dude, I've been waiting to tell you this story. It's going to come at the end of the pod. Okay, I'm at the dinner at the Auburn Court Duesenberg West Coast meet. And I'm talking to Randy Emo, who's like Mr. Duesenberg. He's written books on all these things. And there's this older couple sitting next to us that had been on the drive with me earlier. They were in an Auburn Speedster.
Okay.
And it was the wife's dad's car. So it'd been in her family for like 60 or 70 years since it was almost new. And we're talking about all kinds of things. And the guy's real quiet. And all of a sudden he pipes up. Oh, because I sent you the picture. I passed a 65 GT350 on the highway.
Yes, they were doing the 350 tour.
So I mentioned that to Randy Email because somehow Mustangs had come up or Shelbys had come up. And the guy who hadn't said anything, he pipes up and he goes, I used to tow my Bug-Eye Sprite H Production SCCA car with my 65 Shelby GT350.
Talk to me.
And I was like, excuse me? Baking soda? And so I just grilled him. And it was his wife. They used to do it. And they would sleep under the back glass. They would fold the back seat flat.
That is not comfortable.
That's insane. 2 of them would sleep back there towing this car with a Shelby. That was their tow vehicle, GT350, 65.
Do they have photos?
I asked him immediately. He's like, probably so. I mean, this was forever ago.
Find this person. Find him.
Isn't that incredible?
And find a photograph.
Absolutely incredible. Have you ever heard of a GT350 tow vehicle before?
Well, there's some crazy photos out there of a GT350 towing a GT350 on a trailer and a GT350
towing a Cobra.
Car towing a Cobra.
Yeah,
there's a couple crazy, and you almost wonder if they're staged, but they're not. There's some threads on the Shelby forums and such about those, but a Bug-Eye is perfect. Yeah. I've always thought like it's not a strong enough car to tow a Cobra,
but really light,
but like a little Bug-Eye or like a little Formula car, like a little Crosley or whatever.
Totally,
you could do something interesting. But if you drive a Shelby, how would you want to race a Bug-Eye? You want to race a Shelby. You know what I mean?
I thought that was fascinating. But if you think about racing a Sprite, like the Shelby is like a monster. It is like a truck compared to the Bug-Eye. I said, did you have like a little single axle trailer? He's like, yeah. And the Bug-Eye was so little, like you could put all your spares and spare wheels on, like, it's no problem. That's like towing a toy,
Amazing. Yeah. We need to reenact that.
I can't believe I've been waiting to tell you that.
I want the photo though. I've been hoarding some interesting photos for some new art in the BAT HQ.
Ooh.
Of trailering moments in history.
Oh my gosh, it could be like one of those
great moments,
one of those evolution
trailer history. Because everybody thinks we sell trailers anyway. That's what the name means, right?
That's a podcast topic. Great moments in trailering history.
Totally. So anyway, I have some great ones. And if anybody else has any others, they should send them to us at podcast@. But the Shelby Bug-Eye, if you could, I don't know, who knows where that guy went. He probably doesn't even have an email address.
My dad could probably dig him up in the
Joe Analog. But if he has a 5x7 glossy of the Shelby towing a Bug-Eye around at random race circuits to Cotati, get it.
I mean, amazing, right? I'll try to dig it up.
I appreciate that you told me that story. This podcast has been all like we started it kind of randomly, so maybe the editors will chop that and put that story up front.
I was actually going to try to get to some topics. We just ended up. I haven't seen you for a while, dude. So it's a good BS session.
It's fun to catch up, but that one is worthy of going to the top of the news hour instead of the bottom of the news hour. And that, Paul Harvey, is the rest of the story.
There we go. Well, thanks, Randy. Awesome to catch up. Thanks to all of you for listening. As always, feedback, questions, concerns, ideas, and photos of rad trailer rigs to podcast@bringatrailer.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.